Well, I think it's time for a story from Grandpa T. And this is one of my more recent stories. And part of it involves my trip down here right now. So, year before last, my wife had passed on, and year before last, my daughter decided, after all these years of me complaining and not really knowing much about my dad, my biological dad, he was, well, a real character, all right. A real piece of work, a real piece of shit, I'll say, excuse my language, but a very bad individual and not a good man. Left when I was a year and a half old, never really knew him much. Of course, my mom didn't really know him much either. And I had a full brother. Me and my brother are, his biological children, the guy I was raised with. But, so a year and a half ago, well, 2 years ago almost, my daughter, for Father's Day, decided to get me a AncestryDNA test. We got them both, actually. We each got one and sent them off. And, I don't know, 6-8 weeks later, I get notified that I got results. And I pull it up, and it says, yeah, you got a daughter named Megan. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I sent off the DNA with her. I wasn't really confident in AncestryDNA all of a sudden because I already knew that. I wasn't, I figured maybe I had an uncle or something I didn't know about because I never knew anything about my dad's relatives. And so, my daughter and I both laughed about it. She got the same thing, hey, you're related to this guy, and which is me. And so, a couple weeks later, I got another notification from AncestryDNA, and I go on there and they say, hey, you got let me back up just a smidge. And it just said that she was my daughter. That's right. There wasn't a percentage of DNA. But so I get this next one, I get this DNA match, and it's 13.5%, and it says, these people here are your first cousins, these three people. And I look at it and I go, well, yeah, I know they're my first cousins. I grew up with them. I had Thanksgiving and Christmas and summer playtime with them all the time. I mean, yeah. So again, I was really disappointed in AncestryDNA because it's the stuff I already knew, and I could care less about stuff I already knew. And so another 3 or 4 weeks go by, and I get another notification, and I go on there, and here's a match from this fella that I'd never heard of in my life before, and it says it's a 21% DNA match, and I'm like, whoa, must be a cousin or something. And I go Google it real quick, and it says 21% DNA match is a half sibling. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I have a half sibling I've never heard of, and I got his name right here in front of me, and I looked at his AncestryDNA profile, and, just like mine, what's listed on there is what you really fill out. And so I saw his mom's maiden name and where he was from, and so I thought about it, and I decided to do a little internet sleuthing really quick, and I went out to the most popular place in the world, Facebook, and I did a search for his name, and oh my gosh, there was like 50 of them. And so I was like, okay, well, I got time, I'm not doing anything. And I went down in the fourth one. This guy had graduated from high school and was from the same city his mom was, and I knew that was him right on. I knew it was him. And I sent him a message and said, hey, on Facebook, and said, hey, did you take an AncestryDNA test? Because I got a match with a guy that has your name and your hometown and the year you graduated high school from as my half-brother. Can you please go out to AncestryDNA and see if you got a match on me? And I ended it by saying, hey, I'm so sorry to, if I'm troubling you or anything, but it's just the way it is. So Anyway, he gets back to me right away and was like, oh my God, I got a half brother. And we video chatted a little bit, and I made, oh, this guy, he's like telling you, let me back up a little bit. When I found his Facebook profile, I knew we were related. I knew we were related. Just looking at that very first page, how you describe yourself, I knew we were related. And then I pulled up a couple pictures of him, and he looks like my older brother, my full brother, right? Which I kind of resemble him a little bit, but yeah, he's real tall, and he's got dark hair, and I have blonde hair, and I'm a little shorter, and you know, I'm 5'10", and my older brother's like 6'2", and my new half brother, he's like 6'2", and so anyway, I'm talking to him, you know, we go back and forth about life, and he's a mechanic, you know, loves car guys. He built his own like amateur NASCAR and used to race a lot, and he's like just a super ace mechanic, you know, and I'm not a very good mechanic, but oh my God, I love cars. And we're talking and talking, oh my gosh, he loves whiskey and he loves barbecue, of course. And yeah, it was pretty cool. We got along, you know, obviously pretty good. We texted and chatted back and forth, and decided to go down, and since I'm from Oregon, go down to Southern California and meet up with him in the wintertime. And told him I'd buy him a steak and a beer, and he's like, yeah, come on down. So I got my things together, and a couple months, you know, told me I'll be down on a certain date, so we'll get together then. And about a week later, I get home from, and I'd sent him, so about a week later, I'd actually sent him a Facebook message saying, hey, do you like elk meat? Because a buddy of mine's an avid game hunter, and I was going to bring him some elk. And he didn't answer back, and like 2 days later, I got home from work late in the evening, like 8 o'clock at night. I'm sitting there eating my dinner, and I hear my Facebook notification go off on my phone. It's got a real distinctive notifier, and I thought, oh great, there he is, I'll find out if he likes elk meat. And I picked up the phone, and I could see, not the whole message, just the notification on the screen of your phone, and it was actually his sister. And the words I could see on there were, hey, I'm real sorry to tell you this. And I knew right away something had happened. So I popped open the Facebook message, and I knew it. He had passed on. He had a heart attack. He went to pick up his grandkids at the bus stop after school, and they got there, and he was already gone. So, man, I'll tell you, I was heartbroken and a half. We'd been conversing for about 6 months, planning this out, and I had looked at his Facebook page up and down, and, you know, and we talked about his kids and family, and, you know, his work and everything else, and look at his Facebook page. You know, like I said, I was heartbroken, like you wouldn't believe. I cried for a straight hour. I didn't even really know him that well. But I knew instantly also that his family was devastated. He had a great relationship with his family, his kids. Well, he was a good, you know, good man. And so yeah, I was totally heartbroken, but I knew they were devastated. And I'm just, God, I didn't know if I should reach out or not, because I had not met his kids yet. But I decided to reach out to the older one and told him I was real sorry, you know. I was trying to pay my condolences a little bit. I just happened to mention to him that, yeah, you may or may not know, but I was planning to come down like 2 months from now, and I was going to buy your dad a steak and a beer, and we were going to hang out and talk about you kids. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, you can buy me a steak and a beer. And I said, well, you're on then. So I didn't change the date I left. I went down anyway. And and met his kids, and I was so honored by that. They were such good people, and I'll tell you, yeah, you bet, man, we are genetically related. I love those people. They are definitely part of me, part of my blood, man. They're blood through and through. I'd do anything for them. So, why is that got to do anything with this quartzite trip? Well, because they live in Hesperia, California, and I'm going to stop and visit them this time on the way through. And just like I did last time, I'm bringing up a load of marinated jerky meat, and we're going to cook it together. And we're going to make a big batch of jerky, and then we're going to drink a little bit of whiskey, and we're going to eat some jerky and probably some steaks, and I'm going to take them all out to In-N-Out Burger because we don't have In-N-Out Burger where I live. But, yeah, and, you know, of course, pay my respects to their dad and all. So, yeah, they're good kids. They're so devastated from his loss. And I knew they were going to be because I lost my wife of 40 years, and my kids were just, boy, that's a tough thing to go through. You lose a parent, loved one parent like that, especially when they're the pillar of the family. My wife was that, and I watched my kids go through the same thing. So I knew how devastated they were, and boy, I was right. So it's been a year, and I'm going back to visit them again, and we're going to do a little celebration thing, and I definitely love them. So that's my story. I have a long-lost brother that I almost met, but didn't get to, but I got nieces and nephews out of the thing, and they're really a good bunch of kids. They're a good bunch of folks. They're adults now, you know. I'm getting kind of on in my ears. So, yeah. It'll be great. I can't wait. But, Brother Ted, I love you, man.